from the day you started being, in this world until today, you've probably been getting messages that like you're not doing it right, you're not working hard enough, you don't care.
So I sort of feel like I'm constantly catching up, but never planning ahead. All right, so we're gonna watch some TikToks and Instagram Reels, and then we're gonna get your thoughts on it. Yeah. Does your house look like this?
The only doom pile I haven't conquered is the paper one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, I did have my.
Yeah, I have a closet full of various backpacks. I think what's really funny about that is how, yeah, I have so many bags and they're each for a specific thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what's going on
That's
with
the thing.
what's going on with the doom piles, Michaela?
I mean, so it's funny because this is the way that, so I will also say, like, there is this like kind of joy in seeing like a reel like this because you're like, oh my God, wow, yeah, I share this. This isn't like I'm alone in this like bane of my existence of all of these piles in my life. But also seeing it, especially when she opened the closet and like tried to close it and had to like kick the shoe in,
Yeah.
I did notice like that sense of like overwhelm and like a hint of dread, like kind of creeping because that's what that's what I call them, doom piles, right? I mean, it really kind of goes back into the whole like ADHD. It's not an attention deficit, it's a deficit of filtering, right? And so this is just like one of those like, what does a deficit in the ability to filter look like in real life? And so it looks like we accumulate all of these things and we can't determine kind of, right, like which one, well, in some of these cases, we can't, like backpacks or water bottles. We need one for all of the different situations and we can't actually kind of like filter out. It's like, of course, we need all of them for all of the things. Or sometimes we just don't understand things or the expectation of the effort that we have to put into weed like dishes, right? Nobody needs to decide what to do on dishes, but like the expectation of how long it's going to take me to do dishes is so overwhelming that like I just am not even gonna.
Hey y'all, this Saturday, September 27th, we're hosting a workshop called ADHD Adulting, Getting Your Shit Together. It's 4 hours hosted by Dr. Michaela that focuses on skills building to help you develop good habits, manage your time, and follow through with your commitments. Check out the link in the description below, and spots are limited. And now back to the video. Yeah, so can we tunnel down into this idea of a filtering deficit? What does that mean?
Yeah, so part of our like frontal lobe, that executive functioning part of our brain, is being able to discriminate like what is the most important thing at any given point in time. So in this exact moment, every person who's experiencing us, their brain is taking in like a wide array of information, right? So we're wearing clothes, there are lights, there are maybe things moving or like colors and like physical things in our environments, right? So neurotypical brain can say, oh, I'm watching a video that I'm interested in, hopefully, and I'm going to focus on that video and maybe a couple things about the video or whatever, right? An ADHD brain is taking in the seams of my clothing, the sound the light is making. And instead of saying, oh, I know I want to watch this video, it's like, in some ways it's ping-ponging, but really it's being assaulted by all of that information because I'm not like that filter isn't present to be able to say, here's the one or two things that I want to be kind of focused on in this moment. And so that's just, then it manifests, right?
How does that result in a doom pile?
Right. So when we're thinking about like, oh, shoes, okay? Shoes, we need them. They go on our feet. In general, we have to use them most of the day, every day. Sometimes we want new ones, especially if we like shoes. We end up buying a lot of shoes. Another perfect example of how you build an ADHD doom pile of shoes is you go to the shoe store for one pair of shoes and you walk out with 5 pairs of shoes, but not the pair that you were looking for.
You know what I
Right?
love about this conversation? Sorry to interrupt.
No, please interrupt me all the time.
This is literally how I talk to my children. So you know how we like shoes and we need to wear shoes most of the day. And you know how when we go to the store because you need a new pair of shoes and you walk out with 5 pairs of shoes? The funny thing is I don't feel condescended to at all. But I like how you're like, okay, like let's start with like the basics. So please keep going. But I just love that.
I'm probably going to think about that a lot later if I remember.
Okay, so you're saying,
get home.
Yeah. We have too many shoes.
We get home with our 5 new pairs of shoes, and we're like, oh, but I don't have room in the closet for these in like the perfect little shoe rack that I bought to get organized.
Got it.
And then trying to decide which shoes I need, right? Especially because I might have 5 pairs of black high heels, but each one has a different function. Those are the boring work black heels. These are the nicer work black heels. Those are the work black heels that have a heel that's a little bit too tall, so I don't walk as well, but sometimes that's helpful, right? Like, so then you end up being like, well, I can't get rid of any of the shoes. Oh, those tennis shoes have a hole in the toe, but they're my favorite tennis shoes and they feel the best on my feet. And so you end up with no filter, which means all of the shoes. And then every time you realize like now they don't fit in the rack, now they are literally falling out of the closet. Now I'm afraid to open the closet because more things are going to like jump out and maybe bite me or something. But I still can't figure out which ones I want to or need to get rid of because of that discriminative filter, right?
Yeah, so it sounds like this is an issue of, I guess, prioritization. Would you say that as well? Like that the inability
absolutely.
to filter is how we rank things, and our frontal lobes are the things that will basically weigh stuff against other things. Like, do we want to do this first or this first? That's how we sequence. So I'm hearing filtering is sort of related to sequencing.
Yes.
And so you said that you have one pile left, which is your papers. How did you deal with the other piles? Right. And sorry, one last thing. I love how you said, you know, we buy this rack to get organized.
Yes.
So I sort of feel like I'm constantly catching up, but never planning ahead. Right. So I'm like, okay, I need like 2 bookshelves. Really, I should have gotten 3 because I filled up the 2. But then the other thing that I sometimes worry about, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but do you ever worry that if you buy extra space, like if you get like a big closet, you're just going to fill it up with junk?
Yeah, that's the purse problem. Yep.
What's the purse problem?
You need the purse to fit all the things, but then like, well, sometimes I need a little bit extra. So should I just get the bigger purse so that I can fit it when I'm carrying my laptop and my water bottle all at once? But then am I just going to make that the new norm of capacity, right?
Yeah,
so
so-
now I just have 10 pounds I carry.
How do you deal with that?
Yeah.
How did you get down to just
With
one
so
pile of
much
papers?
love for yourself. Yeah, it starts with
Wait, that
setting
was
it,
actually
like,
hilarious.
Yeah.
With so much love for yourself. Like, I love that is not the answer. And that's what we say to ourselves. And that doesn't help us at all.
it helps in the sense of like it frees up, it allows you to actually do things. Like I feel like when we are so angry and mean to ourselves, we get really
Mm.
paralyzed. Right? So that like perfectionism of like I'm never gonna be exactly what I need to be because I'm so messed up is like
Oh yeah.
then I'm not gonna try. Right? So
Yeah.
like I
Oh,
mean
so you weren't
tongue in
being
cheek, like
sarcastic. That's actually a
I wasn't.
yeah.
And I don't think you can start there.
Yeah.
Because that is that's an incredibly challenging life journey, is to learn to love yourself and to keep loving yourself. Um, and the fact that I do love myself is why have learned to be free enough to say, is it weird to say that I missed you? Like, if I really thought it was that weird and I really hated myself for having that thought, like maybe I wouldn't have said it out loud.
Mm.
And you said you missed me too. So, bonus reward for being a little weird.
Yeah.
Um,
So
but
so
how do you actually?
yeah, so but
Yeah.
that's really great because I think this is what's interesting because I know this is going to sound weird. Like, so I recognize that we are both therapists and we are both doctors and but there's a part of me that like when I hear like love yourself, I'm like that's not going to fix the problem. But what I'm
Right.
hearing from
Oh,
you
sure.
is actually a very clear mechanistic. Oh yeah, if your head is full of self-hatred, how are you going to have the cognitive bandwidth to actually
Yes.
organize? And so I thought you were being
Absolutely.
sarcastic, but it turns out that you were being not sarcastic. And
No,
and so
not
that's
sarcastic.
so you should love yourself for anyone who's watching. Great. And it frees up your cognitive bandwidth, right? So then you have the space and then what do you do?
And then you impose limits, right?
Okay.
So that's the other thing, is like when we think about any doom pile, is we obviously have to conquer the entire thing all at once in one sitting, which no, thank you. Um, so working on those limits, and so that might be I mean, I'm gonna start with dishes because that it has like, at least for me, less emotional like value,
Mm,
which means it's easier to tackle, right? Like
great point.
I love shoes. And so trying to get rid of one of my pairs of shoes is like a little bit asking me to cut off a toe.
Mm.
Um, so I'm not going to start there if I have not established like a practice where I've been successful
Ah.
at winnowing down my pile, right? So dishes, I am going to set a 5-minute timer, or actually it was on a break for something I was doing with Healthy Gamer. I had a stack of dishes and I was like, okay, I have 5 minutes. I've eaten. I don't need to use the restroom. I have a beverage. So I'm going to use that 5 minutes. I'm going to run. I'm going to do as many dishes as I can. And I'm going to come back before the break is up. But I'm only going to get through a few of the dishes. Well, I did actually knock out all of the dishes because it turns out it didn't require as much of an investment as I needed to. And so it's like, okay, I'm just going to do 5 minutes. So I conquered one pile that time, but that's also because I'm historically better at conquering the dishes pile. And that's even with all the people that I work with, they're thinking like, how could I ever organize any closet or anything because it's so overwhelming and I'm never going to get it all in one day and I have to do something later. So it's like, no, that's not the expectation. Let's start with literally 5 minutes, set a timer, and then when my timer has a duck quack at the end, so when the duck quacks, stop. And of course, that requires a little bit of impulse control because once you started, you're kind of like, but I must. And so there's also practicing of that letting go, which is so freeing and then helps us learn you don't have to do all of the things all at once.
Why do you think it is that we're so attached to doing all of the things all at once?
I mean, I think part of it is the filter, right? But I think part of it is also the messaging that, so ADHD is a developmental disorder. You were born with it. So from the day you started being, in this world until today, you've probably been getting messages that like you're not doing it right, you're not working hard enough, you don't care, you're lazy, are you stupid? Are you just like you don't understand things? And so there's also the like, obviously I have to finish everything and do it, otherwise I'm not good enough, which I kind of already believe because that's what everybody says, even though they're
Hmm.
silly and wrong.
Yeah, I think so. Sometimes when I work with people, what I sort of notice is in my own life, when we look at a doom pile, we want that to be gone, right? We look
Yeah.
at the doom pile, it overwhelms us, we feel ashamed, we know it's a problem, we know we should fix it. We shouldn't have bought 5 shoes, we should have just bought 1 shoe, I should have gotten a bigger rack, right? There's all this kind of thing, and you want the problem to go away. And if you chip away at it, the problem is still going to be there tomorrow. And it's going to create all of those problems in your head. And you just want it to be done, right? You want it to be gone. You want it to not be there because it won't affect you. And interestingly enough, it's so interesting. I love how you said that start with something that isn't important, right? Start with something that doesn't emotionally activate you. Because when you're emotionally activated, restraining your behavior, controlling your behavior is going to be so much harder. But when you start with something that's like small stakes, then you're just dealing with the distractibility, impulsivity, a little bit of attention control. There's no emotional component. And I think this is what I love so much about how you approach things is you bake in a lot of like skills, training, background, right? So you want to start, like you don't want to learn how to swim in the ocean. You want to learn how to swim in a kiddie pool and then work your way up. But that conflicts so much with our sense of like, I want this to be done. I want to be good at this. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even like, so dishes for me is not emotionally evocative, but like when I've worked with people where it's, how many pens do you have in your house,
Me?
Dr. K? Yeah.
I have a fair number of pens. I have a couple of boxes of pens.
Yeah.
But
Or like pads of paper. I know you get if you ever go to a conference, right?
yeah.
Like you probably get like a bajillion pens and like different pads of paper, like the marketing things. So like those would be another thing. Like let's just like start with pens. Nobody
Yeah.
needs 10,000 pens. So just pick 1 cup of pens and then get rid of the rest of them.
That's so hard. So, there's, I don't know if you've seen this, but there's an overlap between ADHD and hoarding disorder. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Of course you've seen that. Yeah.
Well, the first time I used the pens example was with a hoarding case. And then I was like, wow, it worked really well with this person, although it was arduous. So I do also want to point out that I'm saying like, oh yeah, start with the least emotionally evocative thing. And even the concept of I am only going to keep 1 cup of pens can feel, to be honest, I have 3 cups, including an entire cup of highlighters that I don't think I even used much in grad school because very quickly I transitioned into electronic papers. So you can't use an actual highlighter. Have I gotten rid of them? No. Do I know if they work? Also no. Do I care? Not right now.
Yeah, cool. So it sounds like dealing with doom piles, we want to really start with things that are small.
Yes.
Right? So start with, it's a filtering deficit. And I like this idea of like, set a timer, chip away at it. So that's a big thing that I found works for me too, is the sort of like concept of, okay, like I'm going to chip away at this. One thing that I find helps is, which is the problem? What is the status of this problem that I want to inherit tomorrow? That's kind of like what I tell myself, right? So it's like, okay, like I don't want to inherit this problem, but I'm okay inheriting, and my wife, this drives her insane, but I will do one or the other. Either I will empty the dishwasher or I will load the dishwasher and run the dishwasher, but I will never do both.
That makes complete sense. Though.
Yeah. And so I just think like, okay, like I don't want to do both. I never want to do both. So like, let me do it half-assed. Let me do it halfway, which is infuriating for her, but works really great for me because then I'm not like doing it all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's a great approach. I will say, because I mentioned I have one like all caps doom pile. Sometimes the doom piles might be related to something that you don't actually know what to do with it. And so instead of doing anything, even 5 minutes, you're like, but I don't even know what I would do in those 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then your first step is actually, how do you find out what to do? So, but to address that doom pile, I actually need to spend 5 minutes on a podcast or a YouTube video or something to start to learn, or call a friend, or I don't know, right? So that I can learn what to do to actually approach that doom pile. if you're super, super, super stuck and the 5-minute start is just not a thing that has worked at all or can work.
Yeah, so I remember, I don't remember where I saw this, but there was a great statement I saw in a therapy guide or something about the right question to ask is, what do you need to learn to get started on this problem? Because everyone's focused on how do I get started? What do you need to learn to get started? It changes the focus quite a bit, and I love that you went into that. Hey y'all, hope you enjoyed today's video. We talk about a bunch of topics like this on the channel, so be sure to subscribe for more. If you're already subscribed, GG, and we'll see you in chat.